Multiple area school districts have announced that they will be virtual for at least the rest of the week. I'm Bronte Sorotsky with which districts are being affected.
The Senate leader promises a vote on voting rights or a change to Senate traditions. Lauren Blanchard in Washington, what stands in Democrats' way and what Republicans are saying next.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Albee. Many area schools have gone virtual for the remainder of the week because of increasing COVID-19 cases in students and staff, while others remain in person. KOAM's Bronte Sorotsky spoke with area schools about the rise in cases and has more on schools closing and remaining open.
School districts across the 4 states are facing the tough decision to temporarily go back to virtual learning. The Carthage School District announced Monday night they would be transitioning virtually for the rest of the week.
We anticipated numbers to increase once we return from Christmas break. It's just an obvious thing. However, the numbers of being quarantined and positive cases just were higher than we anticipated.
They weren't alone in this decision. Other 4-state schools like Miami, Commerce, and Grove will be virtual for the remainder of the week. Grove Public Schools sent us a statement that reads in part, "We decided to transition to distance learning due to a high volume of 6 students, 94 of which are COVID-related. We are also experiencing a high volume of sick teachers, 6 to 7 at each site, and not enough substitutes to cover classes." While schools like Carthage have decided to go virtual due to cases in the school district, other school districts like McDonald County say they haven't yet met the numbers needed to go virtual.
As normal as it can get during these situations, we're still doing in-school learning. We do have some issues with several people and kids being out of school due to sickness and other things. But as it stands right now, as we're talking, we're still in-school learning.
The Joplin School District announced on their Facebook page to stay open for the time being, stating approximately 16% of our students and 11% of our staff are absent for various reasons. So far, the district has been able to readjust classes and remain open. Because the number of COVID, flu, and other illnesses is evolving, our plan could change. I'm Bronte Sorotsky for KOAM News.
We have a full list of area schools that are open and closed on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. Officials with Freeman Health System say COVID cases and hospitalizations are increasing locally. At a briefing today, Freeman's Director of Internal Medicine, Rob McNabb, noted the Omicron is not as severe but is more contagious, leading to the spread. He also says the patients dealing with more severe illnesses are usually unvaccinated.
Looking at the 35 today, I think that the genders are pretty equally represented. I will say that the population that I'm seeing compared to what we talked about with Delta a few months ago, it's much older. I am seeing that 50 to 90 ranges.
As we just heard, Freeman is currently treating 35 COVID-19 patients. Officials also say flu cases are higher than even pre-pandemic levels. Hospitals across the country slammed by the surge of the Omicron variant, facing staffing shortages that are making their jobs even more difficult. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Siri has more from Atlanta.
As the Omicron variant continues to spread across the country, COVID hospitalizations are topping a record set last January, hitting 145,000. However, many of those patients initially coming into the hospital for unrelated conditions, then testing positive for COVID-19 with mild symptoms.
It still takes quite a bit of resources because if you think about it, we still have to safeguard our team members, physicians, and other patients.
While the Omicron variant is known to cause milder symptoms in some, it is still hitting the unvaccinated population hard, leaving many hospitals overwhelmed. Health officials continuing to urge vaccinations and booster shots to help relieve the burden on the healthcare system.
I cannot stress enough the importance of vaccination, including that booster dose, to everyone in eligible age groups.
In addition to an influx of patients, hospitals are also dealing with staffing shortages as their own employees contract COVID and have to remain out of work for at least 5 days to avoid spreading the infection to their patients.
In many cases, up to 20% absenteeism in their existing staff.
Meanwhile, Pfizer's CEO saying if an Omicron-specific vaccine is needed, it could be ready by March. And as we look to the future, it's a possibility we could see an annual COVID vaccine for most of the population, much like the flu vaccine. And some positive news. Scientists say COVID cases in the U.S. could soon be on the decline as the Omicron surge reaches its peak. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
Meteorologist Doug Hay joining us now. Another good day, especially for January, I think.
Yeah, it actually did turn out to be a pretty good day for us today. Temperatures fantastic as we went into the mid-50s. For highs, we started at 40 during the morning hours. Normal highs 44 degrees. Had some clouds kind of shooting through, especially during the afternoon hours. Partly cloudy skies for us now. That's what we're going to see tonight. That's what we're going to see again tomorrow. Here's our next storm system right off the coast of the Pacific Northwest. That will start to affect us Friday night and then into the daytime hours on Saturday. And we could get some light to moderate snow. Not a lot of snow, but some light to moderate snow across the region. So we're going to focus in on this over the next couple days. Of course, I'll break it down for you here in just a bit.
Doug, thanks as always. This week, there's been a seemingly constant stream of international students arriving over at Pitt State. They're getting acclimated to life there with the help of several days of orientation. Some of that is going to be just plain fun, okay? Case in point, a soccer game was planned for tonight.
Just because I wanted to see the States. I have never ever been here before, and that's why I wanted to come here. And I also wanted to come here to speak and learn English.
The new students come from Bangladesh, Brazil, China, Finland, France, India, Jordan, Korea, Malaysia, Micronesia, Nepal, Pakistan, Paraguay, Saudi Arabia, Sri Lanka, Taiwan, and Uzbekistan. A local company getting some national attention, Tank Connection in Parsons, Kansas, manufactures and installs steel storage tanks. They've gotten so good at it, they were featured on the nationally televised show World's Greatest. The show features companies and organizations that produce industry-leading products and services.
With some of the way the economy is right now, you have the quote-unquote Great Resignation. It definitely helps with some of the employee turnover. And it brings new employees here. They want to work here, they want to be an owner, and they want to be really one of the world's greatest.
Tank Connections is located at 3609 North 16th Street in Parsons. Republican lawmakers are pushing to ban critical race theory in K-12 Missouri schools and give parents and guardians more control over what their children learn. Lawmakers pitched the bills during a state House committee hearing. Republican Representative Nick Schroer's legislation would prohibit teachers from using critical race theory, a framework for examining the effects race and racism have on the nation's institutions. Representative Doug Ritchie's bill would allow parents and guardians to censor class materials provided to their children, quote, based on such parents' beliefs regarding morality, sexuality, religion, or other issues related to the well-being, education, and upbringing of such parent's child. Election reform is a growing issue on Capitol Hill, as Democrats say it's a top priority this new year. But Democrats say it may require a change to the filibuster in order to pass a pair of voting rights bills with fewer votes. Fox's Lauren Blanchard has more from D.C.
I'm still talking. That's where negotiations on voting rights legislation stands among Senate Democrats. In its way, Republicans and at least 2 Democrats who do not support getting rid of the filibuster. They argue there should be dual-party buy-in.
I know we're not there yet, but I am encouraged by their engagement in the conversations, both on the substance and on the process.
Things have a way of changing quickly here, especially if the public is aroused.
The Senate leader has promised there will be a vote on reform by Monday, MLK Day. But first, Thursday, President Biden will meet with Democratic senators to throw his political weight behind voting legislation and changing the filibuster to make it easier to pass bills after a fiery speech in Georgia.
A president shouting that 52 senators and millions of Americans are racist unless he gets whatever he wants is proving exactly why the framers built the Senate, to check his power.
Republicans say Democrats are trying to gain a political advantage with the legislation and that the Democrats' changes are unprecedented.
No party has ever been so power hungry and so short-sighted as to shatter the norms and traditions of this institution.
The White House says the president and vice president will be working the phones over the next several days, pushing senators to rework the filibuster and support voting legislation. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another four-state hero. Harry Mitchell served in the U.S. Army from 1941 to 1945. Native of Obolus, Kansas, Mitchell was stationed in Rhineland, earning several awards. We are proud to thank and salute Corporal Harry Mitchell. He's tonight's four-state hero. Doug Eddy's next with a complete look at the forecast. And a bit later, the Carthage boys are on a roll heading into the second half of the season. Going to hear from the team in sports.
Well, it turned out to be a nice Wednesday for us today. Temperatures pretty good, mid-50s for highs. We did have a lot of clouds across the region, especially during the afternoon, but it looks pretty good. The next couple days, Thursday, Friday, nice weather. We do have snow chances moving in for Saturday. Also much colder temperatures funneling in for the weekend. Of course, you can get my long-range forecast on my month-long blog. That is KOAMnewsnow.com. All right, most of us for highs. Mid-50s during the afternoon. We've dropped off a bit. It's not too bad out there. Most of us are sitting low to mid-40s. We'll drop back into the mid-30s once again for us tonight. But looks good. 7th and range line currently outside 45. Southerly winds 5 to 10. Humidity is at about 60%. Kind of in and out of the clouds all afternoon into the evening hours. So we'll call it partly cloudy skies for us tonight. And then again into the daytime hours tomorrow. Let's go west. The Pacific Northwest. Here's the beginnings of our next storm system, which will start to affect us by the time we head into Friday night and Saturday. It's just getting on shore. It's going to kind of ride over the Rockies and then slide in Friday night into Saturday. Until then, we look okay. Mid-30s for us tonight. Temperatures not too bad. Partly sunny skies for us tomorrow. Temperatures great. Warmer tomorrow. I do think most of us will push 60 during the afternoon. 34 to start, 55 by noon. High temp of 60, a light northerly wind at about 5 to 10. Tomorrow night, clouds will start to increase. We'll drop back into the mid-30s again. We get a south wind for Friday. Should still go into the mid-50s, but cloudy skies all day long. Friday night, especially after midnight, we start to get some rain to develop across the region into Saturday morning, and then it will start to switch over to some light snow as we go through the daytime hours on Saturday, especially Saturday afternoon. Kind of picks up late morning into the early afternoon hours, and this is going to be a prolonged band of light, wet snow. Temperatures will drop back into the 20s. This band of snow will continue to work out of here by the time we head into the evening hours. If this system shifts a little farther west, snow amounts will go up. If it goes east, snow amounts will go down. Right now, I think it's pretty steady. It's not a lot of snow, but a little bit. I think our western counties, the lighter amounts, most likely about an inch of snow accumulating on Saturday. Most of us will kind of be in a 1 to 2 inch band, the heavier 2 to 4 out across central parts of Missouri, southern parts of Missouri. These numbers could go up or down, but 3 days out, that's kind of what we're looking at, about 1 to 2 inches across the region. All right, 60 for us tomorrow, 54 Friday, only 35 Saturday with the rain switching over to snow, only 29 on Sunday, so it gets much colder. Monday, MLK Day, about 40 degrees.
60 degrees tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow looks great.
It does. All right, we'll see in a little bit. Thanks so much, Joe. Coming up, the word more was on my mind earlier today. Coming up, more money going to more things.
Shoppers feeling the pain as inflation continues to jump. I'm Edward Lawrence with Fox Business. The numbers coming up.
A new wearable device can help test for exposure to COVID-19 in indoor spaces. Researchers reporting to the American Chemical Society distributed their experimental air sampler called the Fresh Air Clip to 62 volunteers. The highest viral loads were detected in 2 devices that were worn by restaurant servers. A milestone number comes in on inflation, the Consumer Price Index showing how much more people were paying in December. Fox Business Network's Edward Lawrence has more now from Washington.
Consumers are paying more to fill up their shopping carts. A new report showing the surge in inflation year over year for December at 7%, putting it at a 40-year high. It was so high, in fact, that millennials and anyone younger have never faced such a big jump.
The numbers that came out today only confirms what the American public already knows. It's more expensive to fill up your car at the gas pump. It's more expensive at the grocery store.
The rising inflation eating away at strong gains in wages and salaries American workers have seen in recent months.
It functions like a tax on all Americans, and that's what working everyday Americans are feeling every day.
President Biden touting a decline in month-over-month inflation. It was down slightly from November. Wall Street seeming to shrug off the red-hot report.
This is a market that's looking right through Omicron, looking through inflation, seeing that the economy is in rebound mode.
Meanwhile, on Tuesday, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell telling Congress the Fed is prepared to accelerate the interest rate hikes it plans to begin this year if it deems necessary to curb high inflation.
The market understands that the Fed, even if it starts delivering rate hikes faster, it's not going to remove so much stimulus as to derail what is, I think, a sense that this is a riskless time to be investing. It isn't.
Today marks the 7th month in a row the gauge has been above 5%. At the White House, Edward Lawrence, Fox News.
Still ahead, a nationwide look at the growing number of teachers permanently leaving their teaching profession behind. As several schools deal with teacher shortages because of COVID, the Kansas State Board of Education today approved a new rule, making it easier to hire substitutes. The board passed a declaration allowing qualified candidates to apply for a temporary emergency authorized license, or TEAL. It's going to allow anyone over the age of 18 with a high school diploma and a commitment from a school district to apply through the Kansas Department of Education. Many teachers are leaving the classroom permanently, and few industries, when you think about it, have faced the negative effects of the pandemic quite like education. Fox News senior national correspondent Rich Edson looks at what the numbers are telling us.
A superintendent in Boston had to teach a 4th grade class. New Mexico is working to raise salaries, and school boards are cutting standards and increasing pay. School districts across the country are reporting major teacher shortages, full-time and substitute, as the Great Resignation hits education.
I'm not a teacher anymore. Goodbye and good riddance. Woo!
I have been so unhappy. It's unfair to me, and it's unfair to the students in my class.
I quit teaching. Yesterday was my last day. It was very bittersweet. More sweet than better, though, I will say that.
The Department of Labor says in November there were 320,000 job openings in local education. A year ago, there were fewer than 210,000. And there are also concerns as teachers leave, there may be fewer interested in education. Beth Philemon spent a decade as a choral teacher in Tennessee and North Carolina. She left the classroom 2.5 years ago to earn a master's in business, and says this pandemic only made a bad situation worse.
You can't fathom the physical toll, the emotional toll, and the financial toll. I know we'll continue to see more and more people not even pursue teaching as a career.
One expert says there have been unfounded warnings about mass teacher shortages before, and concerns about large-scale exits now may also be exaggerated.
We now have empirical evidence to suggest that teacher attrition was actually lower in the first year to the second year of the pandemic than it had been in the year prior. So the shortage that was discussed did not pan out.
Some experts say any teacher shortage would be worst in specific hard-to-fill areas, like special education. Also, those Labor Department numbers show an increase in hiring in state and local education from the same point a year ago, perhaps showing teachers are leaving one school district to only work in another. In Washington, Rich Edson, Fox News.
Next, DoorDash giving a helping hand to both the Girl Scouts and to us at home or wherever, craving those awesome Girl Scout cookies. Doug and I were talking earlier about Girl Scout cookies, and they're in a league of their own. They're awesome. Good news for Girl Scout cookie fans. You can now buy your favorite box of Thin Mints or whatever cookie you want, let's be honest, on the DoorDash app. The food delivery company and the Girl Scouts of America have partnered up to help Scouts with their sales this season. Customers in select areas going to be able to place orders on DoorDash.com or through the app for pickup or delivery. Girl Scouts will still be hosting virtual and in-person cookie booths and drive-through contactless cookie stands, but now they'll also have the option of learning how to fulfill orders online for distribution. The partnership comes after cookie sales took a hit during the pandemic, still are, I would imagine. Deliveries will begin nationwide in February. Seems like a good deal, again, for the Girl Scouts and for that tummy, right? 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away. People in the woodworking industry from all over North America are at Pitt State to brush up on their knowledge.
Flight cancellations continue as more airlines get hit with staffing issues. I'm Cheryl Casoni with Fox Business. The details ahead.
The woodworking industry includes a lot of areas, things like sales of woodworking equipment, and it's important for those salespeople to understand just what they're selling. One option is going to Pitt State. The university is hosting its biannual Wood Tech Boot Camp. It draws in people from all across the country, even some from Canada. The camp is designed to compress a semester's worth of courses into a week to train sales professionals on the latest machinery and techniques.
They do become advocates of us. And it is nice as we meet them, down the road at different industry trade shows and things like that they are definitely supporters of our program, and we have companies that continually send new representatives of their company back here, and in some cases it's actually opened up some doors as far as some new partnerships within our program.
About 10 people are taking part in the boot camp. There's going to be another camp in May. Well, consumers spent a record-breaking $204 billion during the 2021 holiday shopping season. That's according to a new report by the Adobe Digital Economy Index. The money was spent between November 1st and the end of the year. But data also shows consumers spread out their purchases rather than sticking to big shopping days like Cyber Monday, also good old Black Friday. Before Thanksgiving, spending grew by more than 19% compared to the same time in 2020. An increase could also be seen in the weeks after Cyber Monday. Sales booms came even as consumers and businesses dealt with shipping delays and labor shortages across the country. So when are you ready to sail off into the sunset? According to a recent survey from an investment firm manager, the age 62 is the average age Americans want to retire, but that varies by generation. Millennials say they want to call it quits at age 59. Gen Xers say 60 is a goal, and baby boomers plan to keep going until their 68th birthday. Flight cancellations are piling up as workers call out sick from COVID. Fox Business Network's Cheryl Casone has more from New York.
Holiday flight cancellations are dragging on well into the new year. United Airlines becoming the latest carrier to trim its schedule as COVID cases are on the rise. CEO Scott Kirby saying the airline has about 3,000 workers who called out sick after testing positive for the virus. That's 4% of its entire workforce.
Airlines had a tough Christmas with cancellations. Now we're seeing that the spread of the Omicron and other variants.
Even with thousands of COVID cases, United says its vaccine requirement is working. Among vaccinated employees, the company has had 0 hospitalizations and 0 deaths. Before the mandate, United averaged more than 1 death a week. And United is not alone as it deals with delays and cancellations. JetBlue recently cut its schedule by about 1,280 flights, roughly 10% of its schedule because of crew members getting sick.
Consumers are on high alert. I mean, we saw it over Christmas with the cancellations. The spike here could even be bigger on United. We're waiting to see for other airlines. But you have to have that plan B.
Cancellations coming as bitter cold weather in parts of the country has many travelers looking to book a sunny spring break.
Boy, come February, there's going to be pressure to get as many flights in the air as possible.
United says it has offered pilots triple pay to pick up additional flights this month to offset the shortages. In New York, Cheryl Casoni, Fox Business.
British royal Prince Andrew losing his last-ditch attempt to dismiss a sexual abuse lawsuit against him. A federal judge in New York gave the green light today to a civil suit against Prince Andrew filed by Virginia Guffrey, an American woman who says she was sexually abused by the British royal when she was 17. Judge Lewis Kaplan wrote in a ruling, quote, "Miss Guffrey's complaint is neither unintelligible nor vague nor ambiguous. It alleges discrete incidents of sexual abuse in particular circumstances at 3 identifiable locations. It identifies to whom it attributes that sexual abuse." Lawmakers of the 61-year-old royal previously argued that the lawsuit lacked specificity. Buckingham Palace has yet to respond to this ruling. A bit later, we're learning more about a tennis superstar's off-court fight.
Tennis star Novak Djokovic back training on Wednesday after making a shocking admission. I'm Jonathan Hunt in Los Angeles. I've got the details coming up.
It turned out to be a nice Wednesday for us today. Temperatures are fantastic. Most of us into the mid-50s during the afternoon. And it looks good. Thursday, Friday looks in general pretty good. We do have a storm system moving in Friday night into Saturday. We're going to get some rain over to a little bit of snow. It turns much colder. Of course, you can always get my long-range forecast on my month-long blog. That is KOAMnewsnow.com. All right, look at our highs. Mid-50s. We've dropped off a bit. It's not bad. Most of us are sitting low to mid-40s. We'll drop into the mid-30s a little bit later on tonight. 7th and range line, not bad out there. 45. Southerly winds 5 to 10. Humidity is at 60%. We've had some clouds kind of skirting through during the daytime hours. So let's call it partly cloudy skies tonight. We'll do it again tomorrow, partly cloudy skies. Let's go west. Here's our next storm system moving into the Pacific Northwest. You see this ridge of high pressure? Look how the wind's kind of clockwise around it, so you can follow the arrows and tell exactly where the system is going to go. Up into Canada, draw through the Dakotas, right down through Missouri and parts of Arkansas. It's that system that is going to start to affect us by the time we head into Friday night. As soon as it gets on shore, we're going to get pretty good data on that system over the next 12 to 15 hours. Until then, it looks fine. Mid-30s tonight, kind of chilly. Partly sunny skies tomorrow. We do warm up, warmer than what we saw today. I think most of us are going to push 60 during the afternoon. 34 to start, 55 by noon. High temp right around 60. We're going to have light northwesterly winds at about 5 to 10. So overall, it looks like a pretty good day. Let's go into tomorrow night. Clouds start to increase. We're still going to back down into the mid-30s. Let's go into Friday. Southerly winds start to increase. Mid-50s, cloudy all day long. Friday will be dry. Friday night, especially after midnight, we'll start to get some showers pushing into the region and then switching over to some light snow by the time we head into Saturday, especially Saturday afternoon. This little back band of snow is going to rotate in. Here's late morning into the afternoon. Heaviest will be to our east. Light snow rotates through. And then I think most of this is going to be out of here, let's say mid-evening Saturday. So a long event, but a fairly light event. And I think amounts right now, not too bad. I think our western counties, probably an inch of snow. This is going to be wet snow. Most of us 1 to 2 inches. Now, this is still 3 days out. These amounts could go up or they could go down. We'll have to adjust over the next couple days. Heaviest amounts out across central parts of Missouri. All right, 60 tomorrow, 54 on Friday, 35 Saturday. Rain, snow mix, cold on Sunday, back to 40 by Monday.
So chances are, no matter what this weekend, be careful driving.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. It's good we can stay in and watch some football.
Football, you got it, man. All right, Doug, thanks so much. Coming up in sports, Carthage Tigers are off to a hot start through their first 13 games. Plus, the nationally ranked Labette women opening up conference play at home against Allen. Jacob Leonard joins us with that and more next.
The Carthage boys picked up their first conference win last night, topping Carl Junction 63-29. Now with that win, the Tigers are 11-2 in their first 13 games. Now we caught up with the Tigers today to see what's behind one of the hottest starts in the area.
The Carthage Tigers are on a roll in the first 2 months of the season.
They took some bumps in the road late in the season last year, but it kind of shows the maturity of this group and the work that they put in the offseason to get off to a hot start and really against some high-level competition at the beginning of the year.
It feels great, especially coming off of last year with those having a 7-win record. This feels pretty good right now.
For the Tigers, it's guard play that's been key.
It's nice that we've got Joel Pugh, Justin Ray, and Max Templeman that aren't in a fall sport, and so those guys put time in and they lived in the gym, and we kind of go as they go, and they're the catalyst to our team, and you can tell that the time they put in has paid off.
Last year, having that time as varsity players, and then coming back this year with keeping those 3, been pretty easy to keep that rolling.
Earlier this season, Pugh became the program's all-time three-point king with his 136th career three.
Basketball is my main sport, and that's what I love to do, so having that in the record books here at Carthage where I play, that's pretty amazing.
Carthage is 1-1 in the COC. Their lone loss was to Nixa in their conference opener last week. A learning experience against one of the top-ranked teams in the state.
We could not have started that game any worse. They came out and jumped on us, and we were kind of back on our heels. But for our kids to battle back and have that thing in single digits in the second half with a chance to cut it down to 5 a couple times in the third quarter and to stay in the fight of that is huge. Our kids aren't okay with a moral victory, but some good learning points to move through the rest of COC play after that.
The Tigers are hoping their early momentum and those lessons can lead them to an even stronger finish the rest of the way.
I think we've got a really good chance to be in the top tier of the league this year. We're not the flashiest team. You're not going to have a lot of highlight dunks from our group. But, you know, in a sense, we kind of like it that way. We want to stay under the radar and keep playing and doing what we do, and hopefully down the road it all shakes itself out.
The Tigers are scheduled to return to action on Friday on the road against Hillcrest. The Labette women's basketball team is once again one of the best in the country this season. Labette is 8-2 in their first 10 games, currently ranked 4th in the national rankings. Tonight the Cardinals at home against Allen for their Jayhawk conference opener. Tamaya Robinson starting out strong, hits the three here, 17 in the first half for Robinson. She finishes with 22. Now here she is again. Robinson to Kayla Braxton Young. She hits the reverse. Cardinals up 3 at half. Robinson not done with her yet. Dishes this one off to Chrissy Faison for the bank shot. The other way now. Hallie Reed, really good from long range tonight. Her 4th triple there. We are tied at 39, but in the third, it's Ishana Hunter. Gives Labette the spark they need. Gets the steal and the finish. 7 of her 11 come in the third. Labette able to close it out down the stretch, 64-56.
The girls did a good job executing, making sure we got good shots and then, getting some timely stops at the end of the game. I think it came from our energy. Ishana Hunter had a big stretch there where she got a couple steals, couple breakaway layups. She was just playing really hard. And I think that's kind of what put us over the top. Anytime you get a win in the Jayhawk, it's a big deal. There's no bad teams in our conference, so, if you get a win, you got to go home happy.
The Kansas City Chiefs host the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday night in the first round of the NFL playoffs. The Chiefs are 12-5, while the Steelers are 9-7-1. Sunday's game could be Pittsburgh quarterback Ben Roethlisberger's final game in the NFL if the Chiefs knock him out. Now, the Chiefs are 12.5-point favorites, so it's more likely than not. But also, Big Ben and the Steelers, they're embracing the underdog role and are ready to go out and play freely Sunday night at Arrowhead.
I would assume as a group you understand that, we probably aren't supposed to be here. We're probably not a very good football team. We're out of 14 teams I think are in, we're probably number 14. We're a double-digit underdog in the playoffs. So let's just go play and have fun and see what happens. I hope we don't go in there and get blown out by 20 or 30 points. From what I understand, I'm sure both teams will be close to full strength as you can get this time of year. And, we'll just go, hope we can keep it close.
And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Will tennis star Novak Djokovic be able to take the court to defend his title? That's the question on many people's mind. Fox's Jonathan Hunt, though, has more on why the star is in some more hot water.
Tennis star Novak Djokovic now admits he didn't immediately isolate after testing positive for COVID. The Serbian world number 1, who is unvaccinated, says he knew he was infected when he met with 2 journalists for an interview and photo shoot last month. In a statement published to social media, Djokovic apologized for not isolating and for a false travel declaration given to Australian authorities, saying it was submitted on his behalf by his agent and was simply, quote, human error.
I've seen his statements and it does seem that he's been telling a few fibs too. So I think he should just probably go back.
Australian residents have mixed reactions to Djokovic's statement.
I think we should give him the chance to correct that human error or mistake, whoever he has committed.
But I think it's good for every one of us to see him playing on the court.
On Monday, an Australian federal court dismissed the government's decision to cancel Djokovic's visa. They did so on procedural grounds, ending his detention and appearing to clear the path for him to play in the Australian Open. But the country's immigration minister is reviewing the case and could still revoke the star's visa. The 2022 Australian Open is set to begin on Monday, with or without the world's #1 player. In Los Angeles, Jonathan Hunt, Fox News.
Coming up, some behind-the-scenes commentary from the stars of the new Transformania movie. Hotel Transylvania welcoming guests back for the fourth and final part of the franchise with Transformania. We spoke with the animated film's star-studded cast about rounding out this series and their love of bringing humor for the whole family. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
Is everything okay down here?
An invention turns monsters into humans and vice versa in Hotel Transylvania, Transformania, leading Draken Pack to find a way back. Selena Gomez has played Mavis since 2012 and is an executive producer on this final one.
It's so fun to grow with her. My voice sounds very different from the first to this one, but I think that's quite sweet because you get to actually hear her growth. It's bittersweet that it's the end, but it's been wonderful.
Andy Samberg, Keegan-Michael Key, and David Spade return for the new adventure.
I love thinking about kids now watching them and having a similar feeling watching them that I had when I was a kid.
They say the series brings humor which works for both kids and adults.
What's up, fellas? Frank? The way that it's animated is so universally funny. I watch it as an adult and it makes me giggle.
It's always the physical comedy. Like in this movie, when the Invisible Man becomes visible, there's a butt. Who doesn't laugh at butts? A butt's a butt. You're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh if you're 6 or you're 66. You're gonna laugh. The universal stuff is always the physical humor.
And they love the go as big as you want part of animated comedy.
I never get the note. Let's take it down a little, buddy. If you want, you can even go further. And I'm like, okay, well, you asked for it.
There's really no rules. And I would just ask them, just give me as many jokes as you can. And every joke, if I'll add 3 on top of that, and you just pick anything you want.
Boy, that was fun.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Hotel Transylvania, Transformania premieres on Amazon Prime Video January 14th. And that's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with a video of twin panda cubs making their debut at a Tokyo Zoo. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.